devoured with a sword, for the mouth of the Lord had spoken it. This afternoon, as we would open in prayer, we are so grateful for these that will be honored. Indeed, they have not just eaten the good of the land, but they have been the good of our land. And so we want to bless this afternoon's proceeding, recognizing that God's grace have been wonderfully good to us as Tobagonians. Let us pray this evening. Father, we thank you for your wonderful grace have been made available to us. We thank you for freedom as a nation, as a people. We thank you, Lord, for the liberty that we have, that we can express ourselves, Lord, with the understanding that we're not just living for a moment or just living our life to please ourselves, but as citizens that we have been working together for the betterment of this wonderful island of Tobago and our nation, Trinidad and Tobago. This afternoon, we invite your presence in this gathering. We ask, oh God, but your blessings. We ask that, Lord, you just continuously shine your favor upon us as a land. We thank you, Lord, for the good that you have blessed us with thus far. And yet we're looking forward for the wonderful gifts, the many benefits that we as a nation could enjoy because of your goodness towards us. We ask this afternoon, your eyes, your hands, and your presence will overlook this gathering. And we ask it in Jesus' wonderful name. Amen. God bless you.
Thank you, Bishop Holder. Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated. Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly, the Honorable Farley Augustine, and Mrs. Takiana Ned Augustine. Heads of missions and other members of the Diplomatic Corps, Senators, Deputy Chief Secretary, Assemblyman Dr. Faith B. Israel, other members of the Tobago House of Assembly, Chief Administrator, and the Chairman of the Tobago Day Awards Committee, Mrs. Denise Toby Kwashi, administrators and the Clerk of the Assembly, members of the Tobago Day Awards Committee, awardees, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good evening again. Good evening. Welcome once more to the Tobago Day Awards 2023, an evening of celebration and recognition. I'm Davia Chambers, and it is truly my pleasure to share this occasion with you and take you through this evening's program. This evening, we gather to applaud the exceptional contributions and achievements that have left an indelible mark on the island of Tobago. Prepare, ladies and gentlemen, for an evening filled with inspiration and the acknowledgement of brilliance. Without further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome to the lectern to bring welcoming remarks the Chief Administrator and the Chairman of the Tobago Day Awards Committee, Mrs. Denise Toby Kwashi.
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies. Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly, the Honorable Farley Chavez Augustine, and Mrs. Takiana Ned Augustine, heads of missions and other members of the Diplomatic Corps, Senators, Deputy Chief Secretary, Assemblyman Dr. Faith B. Israel, other members of the Tobago House of Assembly, administrators, and the Clerk of the Assembly, members of the Tobago Day Awards Committee, awardees, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. After an exciting few days that elevated the camaraderie among us as Tobagonians, the Tobago Day Awards 2023 are here. This evening is the ultimate celebration of the Tobagonian spirit and the many winsome qualities that we house within ourselves as a people. Through the compelling testaments of our lives, you, our distinguished awardees, have reminded us of our own greatness. You have shown and continue to show us the exemplary power of leading lives of humility, purpose, and service. And in so doing, you have inspired us to think deeply about our personal legacies in the process. So, when I say that I am in the presence of fine company this evening, this statement is made without exaggeration. Truly, it is an absolute pleasure to be among such a remarkable group of Tobagonians and to extend a warm welcome to each of you. I must also express a hearty welcome to those of you joining us from near and afar here at the Shore Park complex, as well as the Tobagonian diaspora tuning in from various corners across the globe. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Tobago Day Awards 2023. In preparing for today's award ceremony, one crucial word came to mind, and that word is recognition. The act of recognizing others is a sacred exercise, especially when life shows us time and time again just how fickle it can be. Therefore, it is so important for us to be intentional in letting other fellow Tobagonian brothers and sisters know when they make a worthwhile impact, when they have dared to pursue excellence, and when they have passionately poured their hearts out to this little island. These actions ought not to be unrecognized and are certainly worthy of commendation. I believe every opportunity to affirm, to exalt, and to lift up one another is one which we must eagerly grasp, as we are doing here this evening with the Tobago Day Awards. Developing a culture of recognition goes beyond validating the efforts and sacrifices made by others. It also serves as a motivating force for all of us. It inspired those who are already making bold moves, like yourselves, to go the extra mile, while some find the strength to boldly take that important first step. But in a world desperately in need of quality role models and genuine inspirational figures, the Tobago Day Awards remind us that we do not need to look far for persons who can inspire our spirits. It may be a former teacher, a pastor, a community activist, or a local entrepreneur who can stoke the fire lying dormant inside. Our awardees who were nominated by the Tobago public all embody many of the societal values that we cherish greatly across the island. As we honor them this evening, we are also educating our young Tobagonians of our celebrated traits, as well as the identities of those who have made a significant difference in the space. As the Chief Administrator of the Tobago House of Assembly and the Chairman of the Tobago Day Awards Committee, I must express my gratitude to the committee for working tirelessly towards the execution of this event. Let me also express sincere gratitude to the wider Tobago Day Committee for the great job in collating an enticing slate of activities for this year's celebrations. This evening is really about you, our incredible awardees, receiving your flowers that you so rightfully deserve. So do enjoy this special moment with your loved ones. Create unforgettable memories and keep on boldly leading lives that uplifts us all. Today marks 43 years strong, And I pray that Tobago continues to grow with the grace and divine favor of the God Almighty. Ladies and gentlemen, have a blessed evening and a happy Tobago Day 2023. I sincerely thank you.
Thank you for your warm words of welcome, Mrs. Denise Toby-Kwashi, Chief Administrator of the Tobago House of Assembly. And at this time, I'd like to welcome the man who leads this island as its Chief Secretary through the island's successes and challenges to deliver remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly stand and welcome to the lectern the Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly, Honorable Fali Chavez Augustine.
Thank you very much, Master of Ceremonies. Please, you may have your seats. Allow me to acknowledge this evening our Deputy Chief Secretary, Assemblyman Dr. Faith B. Israel, other members of the Tobago House of Assembly, heads of missions, and other members of the Diplomatic Corps. And this year, I'm told we have broken last year's record. And so we officially Island of Tobago ever this evening. So we acknowledge all of you and thank you all for being here this evening. Senator, Independent Senator Dr. Dillon Remy, Chief Administrator and Chairman of the Tobago Day Awards Committee, Mrs. Denise Toby-Kwashi and Mr. Ellis Kwashi, Permanent Secretary, Central Administrative Services, Tobago, Mr. Erland Kent, administrators and clerk of the Assembly, heads of international organizations, and we are joined this evening by IDB, CAF, and UNFPA, members of the Tobago Awards Committee, awardees, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. You know, there is a cultural expression that we enjoy using here in Tobago. It is perhaps the greatest compliment one can ever receive from a Tobagonian's lip. These words are reserved only for a chosen few among us. So whenever we do decide to use them, we are often very deliberate in using them, often ensuring that whomever these words are ascribed to is in fact worthy of them. For us, this saying reflects much more than a compliment. It also expresses strong endorsement and, of course, behavioral expectations. When a Tobagonian looks at you, slowly nods his or her head, and say, "You are good stock. You are good stock," it means that you have been validated at the highest level. To be labeled as good stock means you exemplify a combination of social grace, sound intelligence, and upstanding character. If you're from the countryside like me, we might just look at you and say, proper pedigree. Proper pedigree. You see, it is truly a classic Tobagonian stamp of approval, our own unique and colorful way of saluting someone else. This evening, as I stand here before you, our distinguished awardees for the 2023 edition of the Tobago Day Awards, I too must shake my head and proudly profess that this is indeed good stock. In this auditorium this evening are some of Tobago's finest sons and daughters, some of Tobago's most ardent advocates and passionate patriots, Tobagonians who have consistently chosen service above self because they are cognizant of the larger picture. I'm talking about Tobagonians who have shunned playing small and prefer to be biggish, and who are unafraid to show up confidently in national and international spaces. Tobagonians who remind us that we have absolute magic dripping from our pores. This is the caliber of Tobagonians that we are so privileged to be honoring officially at this year's Tobago Day Awards. This awards ceremony is a staple on the annual Tobago Day calendar of events. And sometimes when events occur on an annual basis, they run the risk of being viewed as mere routine. But what we are doing here this evening is indeed a vital undertaking. For me, the Tobago Day Awards represent an annual deposit in the spirits of Tobagonians. This is a golden opportunity to strengthen the morale across the island, as well as Tobagonians looking on from miles afar. Additionally, it gives us a platform to celebrate and encourage ourselves, which is a crucial aspect in improving our collective esteem as a people. Above all, this is Tobago's way of saying that we do not need external validation for our heroes. We will acknowledge and celebrate our heroes ourselves. On a wider scale, it is also evident that we have something truly special with the Tobago Day celebrations. Few will disagree that the love among us as Tobagonians and residents is highlighted at this very moment. There's a strong sense of togetherness that pervades the atmosphere, which is truly refreshing to experience firsthand. I thoroughly enjoyed seeing Tobago's youth debate one another in the assembly chamber and openly sharing their artistic impressions and interpretations on our present development theme. Who can also forget the friendly banter and competition among the various stage A divisions, notwithstanding the fact that OCS and finance remains the best? But being able to see secretaries and assistant secretaries forge closer bonds with their divisional staff members, that is noteworthy. And yesterday was an exciting time as well, as Tobagonians turned out for the first ever Tobago Day military tattoo at the Sid Gray complex. And to this very day, the weekend is long gone, and I still cannot stop hearing about Councillor Oz Conconte or Assistant Secretary Tate's sweethand. Evidently, Tobago is home to truly fascinating people. And the past few days, as well as this evening, strongly attest to that fact. Our distinguished awardees provide just a snippet of the talents, skills, and cognitive power available to us along this crucial journey of building the greatest little island on the planet. I remain a firm believer that in order to develop a great island, we must have people on board. We must have Tobagonians who are invested and eager to make their personal contributions towards island growth. As many of our awardees who are here have shown how from this small island you can make a massive impact. And since we are aiming to earn the distinction of being the greatest, and if you ask me, I think we are already the greatest, then we must also become comfortable with deeply challenging ourselves and stretching beyond our previously held limits. It will call for hard work. It will demand that we dig deeper than we ever have before. And still, I hope and pray that we as Tobagonians are bold enough to fully embrace the discomfort. You can't grow without a bit of discomfort. You can't grow without growing pains. But I'm confident that Tobagonians know what it means to grow, and grow we must. I can assure you also that those of us at the helm of the Tobago House of Assembly are doing all in our power to ensure that this island's potential actualizes, and that it actualizes sooner rather than later. Our priority remains setting Tobago on the path to becoming a more resilient, a more prosperous, and certainly a more sustainable island. To do so, it requires the urgent strengthening of our government institutions. And we have to do that in order to better deliver and serve the people of the island. The Assembly is also presently laser focused on the digitization of its processes and a digital platform which promises to translate into more effective and accessible service for all Tobagonians. However, the most important piece of the puzzle in developing this little island will be greater autonomy. As we celebrate the anniversary of the inauguration of the modern Tobago House of Assembly today, it is indeed an opportune moment for us to think critically about the Assembly's future and its evolution. The self-governance we presently enjoy hinges upon the determination of other brave Tobagonians of the past, some of whom are present with us this evening, to be awarded for the first time this evening. But it is now up to you and I, to pick up the mantle and ensure that the institution is accorded additional powers to better conduct the affairs of the people of Tobago. I know that I am in the presence of brave Tobagonians. We were brave 144 years ago when Queen Victoria signed the declaration joining the both islands together. And we know the story and the history quite well. Tobagonians didn't quite agree. We were brave enough to fight to get the first modern Tobago House of Assembly in 1980. We were brave again in 1996 when the Parliament looked hung in order to get additional powers. And I'm saying we must be brave again today in 2023 to ensure we achieve greater autonomy for the island. And so this evening, I am in the midst of Tobagonians who will fight to see their homeland thrive. I'm in the presence of Tobagonians who understand that the journey ahead will call for more sacrifice. I stand this evening in the presence of Tobagonians who find joy in putting island first and understanding that preference ought not to be misinterpreted. We are Tobagonians first and foremost. Tobagonians who understand that there is no better time than now. Not tomorrow, but now. And so, my heartfelt congratulations to all our awardees here this evening, and a happy Tobago Day to this beautiful little island of Tobago. You see, this island paradise that we love is noted for being an overachiever. Even in the country that is called Trinidad and Tobago, when you check our achievements per capita, I guarantee you we outstrip any other district, any constituency anywhere else in the country that is Trinidad and Tobago. And if we can do such great things for the red, white, and black, I want to charge you this evening to do greater things for the blue, yellow, and green of the Tobago flag. And so I look forward to awarding you brave sons and daughters of Tobago. I look forward to celebrating Tobago Day with you. But more than all of that, I look forward to the day when Tobago Day will mean more than a little THA, but it will mean a big island government for the greatest little island on the planet. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you for your very insightful remarks, Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly, Honorable Fali Chavez Augustine. Ladies and gentlemen, we've arrived at the highlight of the evening, where we will have the presentation of awards. I invite you at this time to turn your eyes to the screen in front of you. Our first award this evening, the Tobago Medal of Honor Gold for distinguished and outstanding service to Tobago in the sphere of education and public service.
School certificate examination and passed with a grade 1. That's the highest grade you could get at that time. However, at the Scarborough Secondary School, I was awarded the substantive post of vice principal. From there, I went to the University of Vermont on National Science Foundation scholarship. I decided to come back home because I had a burning desire to teach my people, but my people need me. Stick to your work. Develop a passion for it. Every child has a need, and every child's ability must be pushed to the limit. They must know that. They must believe that.
Mr. Caruth is a pioneer in facilitating the establishment of 3 new secondary schools in Tobago. He has distinguished himself as a principal, teacher, and schools supervisor. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Cecil Caruth. Our next award, the Tobago Medal of Honor Gold for distinguished and outstanding service to Tobago in the sphere of public service, community service, and culture, Mrs. Deborah Moore Miggins.
I started as a teacher at Scarborough Secondary, which seems to be thousands of years ago. And from there went off to university. I was an attorney when I came back, so I got a position as legal advisor to the Tobago House of Assembly. That went on for a good 6 to 7 years. From there, I went into private practice fully. I've always been in private practice, even when I was in public service. Served in the Tobago House of Assembly as independent representative for Bethel Patience Hill, it was at the time. I even served as a senator, and right now I serve on various boards. So in terms of community service, I think I am really, I would say, well represented. Tobago is a nice place to develop any one of these skills. And on top of culture, any element of culture, I pick my speech band and I'm a little corner there in my speech band. For some reason, God has given me the talent and the appreciation to get involved in these things.
Mrs. Miggins' contributions to the island are worth being recognized from her contributions in the law fraternity, culture, public service, and politics. Mrs. Deborah Moore Miggins. Our next award is the Tobago Medal of Honor Gold for distinguished and outstanding service to Tobago in the sphere of culture. The awardee, Mr. Robert Lord Nelson Nelson. He is unable to attend, so Mr. John Arnold will collect on his behalf.
He is one of the greatest entertainers in Caribbean music. Born Robert Nelson and raised in Plymouth, Nello, as he's affectionately called, is one of the most lovable and internationally sought-after Calypsonians. In 1952, Nelson left TNT for a better life in the United States. He was drafted into the U.S. Army, where he was deployed to Korea. It was there that Mr. Robert Nelson accidentally discovered his talent for performing. On weekends, Nelson would perform just for fun for his fellow troops. As a headliner, Nelson performed at local festivals and carnival celebrations with the Duke of Iron and Attila the Hun. Eventually, he met the mighty Duke, who encouraged him to write his own songs. Nelson was dubbed the People's King back in 1989. He received the keys to the city of Port of Spain, Trinidad, and was named King of the Uncrowned Kings in Trinidad and Tobago. Lala, King Liar, Me Lover, Disco Daddy, We Like It, and Night Train are just a few of the musical gems crafted by soca music legend Lord Nelson.
Our next award is the Tobago Medal of Honor Gold for distinguished and outstanding service to Tobago in the sphere of culture. Mrs. Beverly Ramsey Moore.
Culture is a way of life, and my strong foundation in culture and cultural activities has been from my community background, growing up in a community like Black Rock, which is a community that is very strong in culture. There is where I got my foundation from as a teenager. I was involved in the Black Rock cultural group. And so from there, I also got involved in other activities through Heritage Festival. And as a person that was engulfed in community work, I was elected as a member of the Tobago House of Assembly and served in the Division of Community Development and Culture. And Black Rock is a community where we have the oldest plain steel band on the island of Tobago, which is Cats and Jammers. And my father and 7 of my uncles were foundation members of the steel orchestra. And we love to say that Cats and Jammers is the pride of Black Rock. And so I got involved in organization and management in that orchestra, which eventually led me to becoming the president of Pan Tobago. Being involved in these organizations, coming from community, Tobago House of Assembly, and now on a national scale, just impacting on people, seeing how the music transforms and makes, people so happy. That is what I love. As a leader and being female in a man's world, in particular in Pan Tobago, where I am now, has always been challenging. But because of my background, where I come from, would have helped me to really stand strong. And so I am now in a much more comfortable position.
Mrs. Ramsey Moore has played a pioneering role in the field of culture. She's the first female president of Pan Tobago and is the current president. One of her major contributions is that of having the United Nations declare World Steel Pan Day on August 11th. Mrs. Beverly Ramsey Moore. We now have the Tobago Medal of Honor Gold for distinguished and outstanding service to Tobago in the sphere of public service and entrepreneurship, Mr. Alan Richards.
So I was the field officer in Tobago. This came as a direct result out of the 1970 revolution, where the private sector attempted to fill some of the vacuum that was left in young people's lives by offering them opportunities, and opportunities that were funded primarily by the private sector people. I was appointed as clerk of the house in 1988, just before my 40th birthday, which made me about the youngest person. Certainly at that time, I think there might have been, in history, there might have been one or two other persons who had reached that level in the public service prior to their 40th birthday. Just merely being able to do things that you thought would improve the lives of people on the island.
Mr. Richards developed structures and procedures to facilitate the role of the new THA-based Act No. 40 of 1996. He was also deemed exceptional in his contributions to the public service and its expansion in Tobago, as well as contributions to the business and tourism sectors on the island. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Alan Richards. Our next award, the Tobago Medal of Honor Gold for distinguished and outstanding service to Tobago in the sphere of sport, Mr. Bertil St. Clair.
I started coaching cricket, and we won because long ago it was Bonaccord government school. Because they had a ground and all of that, so he used to beat up everybody. When I started with Montgomery, we started to win the cricket. Mr. Victor Wheeler, again after prison, asked me to come to teach in Signal Hill. So I went to Signal Hill. That's how I came to Signal Hill to teach. I didn't go to Teachers College anymore. And I remember vividly, we always had to praise Miss Nicholson, Pam Nicholson, because she was the Minister of Sports who brought secondary school from Tobago into the competition. In 1989, we had won 87, 88, and 89. 89, I was coaching the National Ladies Hockey team, because I used to coach Paradise Hockey Club and we won everybody. So when I coached the team, we're leaving to go Panama this Saturday. Signal Hill qualified to get the third trophy. I am the only coach that coach every national team, from under 13 right up to the senior team twice. Latapi, and we were going to Puerto Rico. When I picked the team in the morning, Dwight York was there too. He was 10 years old. I remember vividly. When I picked Dwight York, the manager asked me, why go with that little boy? I told him, who picked the team? And he shut his mouth. I remember when we go to Puerto Rico, Dwight scored a goal. Because I always say, if you have no discipline, you can't beat anybody.
Mr. St. Clair has excelled in the sphere of sports, particularly football. He has coached and aided in the development of footballers, even on the national level, and he continues to make significant contributions to the sport and its players. Mr. Bertil St. Clair. Let's keep the round of applause going, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Congratulations to all of our awardees. And at this time, ladies and gentlemen, we'll have entertainment by Mr. Tony Panjambi Williams. Let's welcome him with a hearty round of applause. Thank you, Mr. Williams. Let's hear it again for Tony Panjambi Williams. And before we continue with the presentation of awards, we're asking the driver of PCH 6973 to please attend to your vehicle. That's the driver of PCH 6973. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you can pay attention to the screen in front of you once again as we present our next award, the Tobago Medal of Honor Silver for long and meritorious service to Tobago in the sphere of community service, Miss Irene Beach.
Miss Irene Beach attended the Scarborough Anglican Girls' School and the Harmon School of STA. From 1974 to 1976, Miss Beach worked as a primary school teacher at the following schools: Bonnecourt Government, Montgomery Government, and Goodwood Methodist. Past students today still delight in calling her Miss or Teach. Miss Beach worked at Community Development Department for 37 years. In September 1995, she was a delegate and a part of the government's team at the 4th United Nations World Conference on Women being held in Beijing, China. This experience gained enabled her to further appreciate works, contributions, and development of all women to the Tobago space and, by extension, Trinidad and Tobago. As a youth development worker, Ms. Beach developed and implemented programs for young people and encouraged them to participate in activities planned by the government and non-governmental agencies in Tobago, Trinidad, and further afield, through which many ardent youth leaders were created and developed, such as Mr. Anthony Trim, Mr. Collis Hazel, and Mr. Carl Allen. Ms. Beach has always demonstrated a healthy, interactive relationship with the Tobago communities. She's contributed to the improvement and development of the quality of the people of Tobago.
Miss Irene Beach is known for her excellent role as a community builder and youth advocate. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Irene Beach. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Our next award is the Tobago Medal of Honor Silver for long and meritorious service to Tobago in the sphere of public service, Dr. Elton Bob.
I joined the police service on the 15th of September 1969 and served there until 1980. I transferred to the public service, Ministry of Agriculture, where I worked until 1990. My fondest moments was working in the Division of Planning and being a part of the preparation of economic plans for the development of Tobago. I was called back to implement the comprehensive economic development plan for Tobago. Those activities really gave me impetus to work because, you know, they certainly actualize on the ground what Tobago needs by way of what economic development, social development, and other forms of development. So that really, those areas were certainly my pet areas, particularly, as I said, the implementation of the comprehensive economic development programs. I've had several challenges, particularly working in Tobago, but I always say thank God for the chief secretaries with whom I worked. I worked with the Honorable Orville London, and I also worked with the Honorable Hochul Charles, both forthright gentlemen who you could always approach and certainly gotten information, guidance, collaboration, whatever you need, of course, in executing your tasks.
Dr. Bob is a former chief administrator who who has guided and influenced policy direction in Tobago through the Comprehensive Economic Development Plan and has led the development of all THA divisions. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Elton Bob. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Our next award is the Tobago Medal of Honor Silver for long and meritorious service to Tobago in the sphere of entrepreneurship and community service. Mr. Bill Brown.
I will always attribute my success, all that we have achieved, to the goodness of Almighty God. And we are not ashamed to declare that. We built it in 1980 something, and then we sold it in 1990. Then we purchased it back in 1997. So 1997 to now, that's the time that we are there. If you compare me with what is existing now, I would not even be mentioned because I never went to high school. I never had money. My wife, we never went to secondary school, but when talking about good support, faithful, loving, hardworking, that's the kind of person that she is. I must, with all my heart and soul and strength, I must say thanks to the community of Tobago. You know, the thing about it is that this should be an inspiration for others. And don't think that you have to start from the top, to be honored.
Mr. Brown is a long-standing businessman in Tobago. He has made his notable contributions to community service and entrepreneurship. Mr. Bill Brown. Our next award, ladies and gentlemen, the Tobago Medal of Honor Silver for long and meritorious service to Tobago in the sphere of agriculture, Dr. Jason Dickinson.
I worked in Trinidad, and then I was posted to Tobago in 1973. To relieve an officer who was going on vacation. It's 1973, for 2 months. And I'm still here waiting on him to return. I think the standard of work that I did was pretty high. And as I said, I was well respected and patronized. It's a very rewarding experience. But you have to love what you're doing. If you don't love what you're doing in veterinary medicine, don't make a start, because they're long hours and sometimes very unrewarding clients. I feel joyous. I feel happy at least somebody was watching.
Dr. Dickinson was the first veterinary surgeon on the island and has served the island in that capacity for approximately 50 years. Yeah. He has mentored a number of veterinary officers in Tobago and continues to share his knowledge. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Jason Dickinson. Our next award, ladies and gentlemen, the Tobago Medal of Honor Silver for long and meritorious service to Tobago in the sphere of education, Mrs. Belinda Dillon Duncan.
To teach is to touch lives forever, and that stuck with me. I have been a teacher spanning a period of 38 years. This started with 24 years at Bishop's High School as a geography teacher, and then as a principal at Pentecostal Light and Life Foundation High School for the next 6 years, and subsequently an 8-year period as school supervisor 3 at the then Division of Education, Youth Affairs and Sport. My fondest memories were linked in particular to the 6 years at Pentecostal Light and Life Foundation High School. That is because I had an opportunity to do some new things, because this is a recently established institution, established during the period when there was the national mandate of education for all, and students who would not normally have been admitted to secondary school were now a part of the student population at this new institution. I see this medal as a way of showing appreciation and recognition for hard work over a period of time.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Dillon Duncan. Ladies and gentlemen, we now have the Tobago Medal of Honor Silver for long and meritorious service to Tobago in the sphere of sport, Mr. Gerard Franklin.
This year is 43 years we have been in consistently being a club, because success breeds a sort of a situation where why give it up? The birthing of the Zenith Athletic Club came out of the desire to see track and field having a sort of parenting, a development. So what we did, we took all the skills of the athletes and we transform it. As we say in our words, we transform commitment into results. Right now, I'm still involved in terms of mentoring younger coaches. I have a number of young coaches with me right now. This recognition is from the people of Tobago, thanks to the THA, who are the ones who are in management. But it's from the people of Tobago. Track and field really needed this impetus at this time to take it to the level that I am into something that has some future.
Mr. Franklin has been instrumental in the development and accomplishment of several of Tobago's elite athletes. He trained the island's first Olympian, which is nothing short of extraordinary. He is the co-founder of the Zenith Athletic Club, which was founded in 1980. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Gerard Franklin. Our next award is the Tobago Medal of Honor Silver for long and meritorious service to Tobago in the sphere of education, religion, and culture. Ladies and gentlemen, Reverend Esther Moore Roberts.
I am actually humbled. I, had to pause when I heard. But again, I want to give God thanks because recognition is what, sometimes gives you a boost to do what you're called to do. Being a pastor, being able to tell or to exemplify to persons the peace that you ought to have, the forgiveness and all that, is so key as we pass on knowledge. I always say you could have all the ingredients in life, if it doesn't come together with the love of Christ, you don't really enjoy the best that life has to offer you. When persons have education, it's good, but when you don't have the spiritual grounding You know, you may not be able to complete what God has set for you to do. I always say, you know, everybody was born with a purpose. And when you discover that purpose in God, then you can live this life, a more fulfilling life.
Mrs. Roberts has contributed significantly to the growth of the Moravian Church and religion in Tobago. She has been appointed as the superintendent of the Tobago Conference of the Moravian Church. Ladies and gentlemen, Reverend Esther Moore Roberts. Our next award, ladies and gentlemen, the Tobago Medal of Honor Silver for long and meritorious service to Tobago in the sphere of education, Miss Agnes Murray.
I was excited about media. I even had a scholarship in journalism, but God had other plans, so I ended up teaching. I started where I was taught at the secondary level, Bishop's High School, straight out of Upper Sixth into being a teacher there. 55 years. I started way out of sixth form in 1968. I think it is very thoughtful of the people on the ground to recognize people while the people can still appreciate it. Love people while they're alive and kicking, not when they're dead and gone and out of touch with this earthly existence.
Miss Murray is a pioneer in facilitating the establishment of 3 new secondary schools in Tobago and seeing these schools from, as we say, the ground up. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Agnes Murray. Our next award is the Tobago Medal of Honor Silver for long and meritorious service to Tobago in the sphere of education, Mrs. Joan Sebro.
I didn't expect it, so it was a real surprise. I thank the person who nominated me. I became principal at a new school, first principal starting a new school, so I had the physical environment, but I didn't have any things like timetable and the whole culture, the whole ethos of a school. That was the Roxborough Secondary Center, you know, and that was 2000 when all students were given the opportunity to go to secondary school. The problem is that there was no help, we had only 7 members of staff in a school of 225, 1 graduate. It was really difficult, but you know what? We loved the children, and we taught the children to love each other and to love us. If you don't love the children and you don't love your job, it's unfair to yourself and it's unfair to the children. Because if you have love in your heart, you would really work hard to ensure that each child develops his or her full potential. I feel excited and appreciated.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Sebro is also a pioneer in facilitating the establishment of 3 new secondary schools in Tobago. Mrs. Joan Sebro. Let's keep the applause going, please. Applause. Our next award, ladies and gentlemen, is the Tobago Medal of Honor Silver for long and meritorious service to Tobago in the sphere of education, Mrs. Marcel Angela Sosa.
It started when I was 18 years old, and I was thrust into the classroom and, well, more or less to fend for myself. Luckily, in those days, I think teaching to me might have been, as compared to today, might have been less of a challenge because the children sat and listened. Miss was in charge, and they showed Miss a lot of respect. So there I was, at 18 years old, at Bishop's High School, my old school, and I was asked to teach. I got involved in a lot of school activities. I was assigned to Bowles House, and I am very interested in athletics, so I got into the training, and it was like a family. I enjoyed every step of it. Well, the greatest challenge for me was this change from Bishop's High School to going to Bonaparte Blackhawk Secondary Center, because we didn't have teachers. We were short of teachers, and there was a lot of negative publicity that affected the minds of the children, making them feel they weren't worthy, there was nowhere for them to go, they wouldn't move ahead. So in addition to not having proper physical facilities, not enough teachers, there was the whole mindset of the children. And these were children who would not have passed common entrance. So they came with a negative outlook. And the challenge was to get them interested, to let them know that there was a future for them, they were talented, and they would move ahead.
Mrs. Angela Sosa also facilitated the establishment of 3 new secondary schools in Tobago and saw these schools from the ground up. Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Angela Sosa. Our next award is the Tobago Medal of Honor Silver for long and meritorious service to Tobago in the sphere of community service, the Roxborough Police Youth Club.
We are an extended family, like everyone there, look after each one. So it starts from the head, comes straight down to the bottom. Mr. Hazel, who is the leader, and his wife, they are like the grandparents of the youth club. And well, you have me, who is now the president. I'm like the grandson, and it have the great grandkids coming up, and it's just like a family that's ongoing and ongoing and ongoing. We have this project where we clean the sea area of Roxborough. I think that is probably the most put together, or like the most where everyone more like come together for that initiative. Majority of groups tend to fall short because of funding. Funding is a major issue for all groups across Trinidad and Tobago. But the desire and the dedication of our leader and persons behind them help us to overcome these challenges, because Mr. Hazel is a person that he doesn't really take no for an answer. So on many different occasions, we'll write to have different funding for different initiatives. It's just that we have a solid foundation that helps us to go through these kind of moments.
The Roxborough Police Youth Club is an exemplary one that has made its contributions to Tobago in community service. It has been continuous in its offerings over the years. Mr. Tariq Mahabal, the president, is collecting the award. Our next award is the Tobago Medal of Honor Silver for long and meritorious service to Tobago in the sphere of entrepreneurship and community service, the Tobago Baking Service, Crusoe's Tasty Products.
Tobago Baking Service wasn't really my dream. It was a dream of 2 gentlemen by the name of Cornelius Nimblett and Archer McQueen, both of whom are now deceased. I decided maybe I should look at this and see where I can fit in. So the business was struggling. And I decided, okay, I will throw my lot in. And that throwing stayed for 40 years. I enjoy seeing people happy with my products. We served the community at the time we had a youth camp. So we used to provide youth camp with service. We provided the prisons. We provided the hospital. And of course, well, we went from Charlottesville to Canaan to Lansome, all around Tobago.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Tobago Baking Service has been in operation for over 50 years. It is one of the island's main bakeries, and it is known for its contributions and sponsorship to athletic clubs, community groups, and even the needy on the island. During the COVID pandemic, the bakery was instrumental in providing for those in need and still continues to make its contributions. 3 years ago, its former manager, Collis Nimblet, who was an integral part of the business, passed away. So ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to all of the awardees. Coming now to entertain us is the Signal Hill Alumni Choir. Get ready for a spectacular performance. Let's welcome them with a lusty, lusty round of applause.
create our vibes. This is a big part of our lives, so come must live and never die. In this salty atmosphere, so sweetheart I can't describe. So all the artists we must take it comes out and engine. Can't start so we cannot drive. No oxygen tank, we got deep sea tank. So we got to come together and try to find a way, find a way. No more fight, come to me, that's a unify. Let them keep their money, we don't take it right. When they come and me down, when you see them, hear this song, hear this song. In the engine, it's our vibes, in the engine, come and join the line, grab your bottle and spoon. Jamming, it's our party in the engine room. It's our party in the engine room. We go jam it steady. We go get on massive. Come and join the line, grab your bottle and spoon. Jamming, it's our party in the engine room. So we cannot drive, no oxygen tank, we can easy drive. So we got to come together and try to find a way, find a way. No more fight, down till we got to unify. Let them keep their money without taking back. So they come run me down when you see them. Hear this song, hear this song. In the engine, it's our vibes, it's such a jamming to the steel band. In the engine, come and join the line, grab your bottle and spoon. Jamming, it's our party in the engine room. It's our party in the engine room. We go jam it steady. In the engine room. We go get on massive. In the engine room. Come and join the line, grab your bottle and spoon. Jamming, it's our party in the engine room. It's Christmas 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 in
Ladies and gentlemen, let us thank the members of the Signal Hill Alumni Choir once more. We're now at our final set of distribution of awards. Our next award, ladies and gentlemen, is the Tobago Medal of Honor Bronze for loyal and devoted service beneficial to Tobago in the sphere of culture and community service. The awardee, Mrs. Pulwati Bipath.
My journey started from way back when I was a young girl. We formed the Tobago Hindu Society, and this was assisted by one Mr. Winston Saunders that was working in community development at that time. He was the person who assisted us in getting the Tobago Hindu Society started. I enjoy most about culture and to educate the people of Tobago, to let them know what the East Indian culture is about, what the food is about, what all the culture activities, because when we do our program in Tobago, we normally will cook food and we will share for all the different people that attend in. And we have a lot of races, different people that attend our program. And they enjoy the food and they learn a lot about the Indian delicacies that we make.
Mrs. Bipath has been responsible for educating the Tobago people of the East Indian culture and is the president of the Hindu Association in Tobago. She's also involved in food hamper distributions for the needy. Mrs. Pulwati Bipath. Our next award, the Tobago Medal of Honor Bronze for loyal and devoted service beneficial to Tobago in the sphere of education. Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Anne Benoit.
I began teaching in 1975 as a replacement teacher for a teacher who went on maternity leave at Lambeau Anglican. After there, I proceeded to Plymouth Anglican, where I taught for approximately 30 years, and then to Hope Anglican, where I spent 9 years there as principal. I enjoyed seeing the children move from one level to another. Teaching is a very challenging job, and my feeling is that if you don't really like it, if your heart isn't there, you shouldn't get into it.
Mrs. Benoit. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Our next award is the Tobago Medal of Honor Bronze for loyal and devoted service beneficial to Tobago in the sphere of public service and community service. Mrs. Miriam Caesar Moore.
I'm passionate about community development and people. So my journey began as a nursing professional and branched out to community development, in which I served in the Tobago House of Assembly for about 3 sessions, one from 1984 to 1988, where I was the Secretary for Health during that time. And then I came back after a few years and also was elected and was serving as the Secretary for Community Development, Youth and Sport. So there's where all the passion that I had came to the fore. Meeting people, caring for their needs and their concerns, and loving the people, and especially the people of Tobago. Aspire to the best that you can. The best that you can do it, whether in studying, getting your education, because the youth must know that education is our passport.
Mrs. Caesar Moore. Our next award is the Tobago Medal of Honor Bronze for loyal and devoted service beneficial to Tobago in the sphere of education. Mrs. Colleen Hislop.
My journey would have started in the year 1970 when I began teaching at the Mason Hall Government Primary School. It had always been my desire to be a teacher. I progressed to becoming a primary school principal at the then North District Seventh-day Adventist Primary School, which eventually changed names to the North Regional Seventh-day Adventist Primary School. And then in 2017, I started my own home school, which continues, and there I am now. The name of that school is the Cohis Preparatory Home School in any environment. But when you take a child whom most people may consider not achieving well, and to see that child progressing, that is one of the greatest joys for me as an educator.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Colleen Hislop has been in teaching for some 54 years. She's been the primary school principal of 2 schools. Given her passion for teaching, upon retirement, she was forced to continue teaching children with learning disabilities and was able to bring them to a level that they can achieve in the normal learning scheme. Given that, she has established a school to not only treat with challenged learners, but also regular learners. Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Colleen Hislop. Our next award is the Tobago Medal of Honor Bronze for loyal and devoted service beneficial to Tobago in the sphere of health, Mrs. Edwina King Ince.
Okay, I started off in March 3rd, 1986 at the Port of Spain School of Nursing. I decided to do district health nursing, which I was successful in doing that. But my love in nursing is to help others, the less fortunate, to give back to the community. I like to help, but most of all, I like doing wound dressing, they'll call it dressings. I like doing that.
Mrs. King Ince has been a well-rounded and dedicated nurse. Her skill, experience, and character have made her influential. She has served in the nursing field for over 35 years. Mrs. Edwina King Ince. We now have the Tobago Medal of Honor Bronze for loyal and devoted service beneficial to Tobago in the sphere of culture and community service, Mr. Lawford Peters.
In the culture, I'm really involved in way back in Better Village, heritage and all those things. So I was president of the village council for about 20 or more years. And at least I was PRO for the childhood center. And in the childhood center, we organize a group and we send people several to study. And they came back as teachers. In my endeavor in life, I always could have worked with any group of people, no matter where they stand. I had the ability to work with anybody. I just feel good about it and keep most of it who really are. That is what I keep on studying, who recommend them and give them my phone number. But I'm pleased for such.
Mr. Peters has made an indelible mark in the cultural history of Tobago. Mr. Lawford Peters. Our next award is the Tobago Medal of Honor Bronze for loyal and devoted service beneficial to Tobago in the sphere of tourism and entrepreneurship, Miss Greta Trim.
With only a primary school education, her mother's recipe, and an entrepreneurial spirit, Miss Greta Trim set out to make a living. After 40 years in business, Ms. Trim was able to make her mark on the tourism landscape of the island. She created her brand of Tobago's curried crab and dumpling, which gained international acclaim, being featured on New York Times, Mark Twain's food vlog, Toronto Sun newspaper, just to name a few. Ms. Trim was among the first set of women who operated her trade offering as a tourism product at Strawberry. Ms. Trim has influenced many young persons establishing their brands on the island. What began as her crafting her menus and infusing them with Tobago's warmth and homeliness is now a family legacy.
Ms. Greta Trim is unable to attend, so her daughter, Misha Trim, is collecting on her behalf. Our next award is the Tobago Medal of Honor Bronze for loyal and devoted service beneficial to Tobago in the sphere of sports, Mr. Terry Williams.
My passion, real passion is football. So I started off playing at Bonaccord Government, where I attended from a very early age. And I saw them, the coach running around with some kids. I dropped my bag and run out there and start tussling for the ball. Got the ball and started doing my thing. And he stopped the play and he said, hey, come. And he gave me the ball to go home the evening. That was Winsfield Kwama. And I went home with the ball. All the kids followed me and we kicked in the street and so on. Took back the ball the next day. A couple days later, he came to my class, which was very early, could be standard 2 or 3, and asked to see me. And said he asking me to come to join the team. Everyone thought I was too small and so on. But I went, and I got selected, and I played my first game. I coached the Trinidad and Tobago national women team. And yeah, I continued guiding Phoenix, the club that I founded in 1974. We became Phoenix in 1976, but I am the founder of that club.
Mr. Williams is one of Tobago's staple coaches and is the head coach of Phoenix FC. He has produced outstanding players and continues to contribute to the sport. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Terry Williams. Yes, let's keep the applause going. Our next award, the Tobago Medal of Honor Bronze for loyal and devoted service beneficial to Tobago in the sphere of entrepreneurship, culture, and community service. This award is being distributed posthumously to Mrs. Patricia McCain Williams.
Her creative and artistic abilities were displayed at a very young age. She was always sketching unusual but impressive designs while at school and at home. When we were old enough, she decided, okay, she's gonna get into community work, where she was very involved and worked tirelessly as president of the Plymouth Village Council. She was also instrumental in organizing the Tobago Jazz Festival, which was held in Plymouth first. I'm honored to receive it on her behalf because, you know, at least her work is still recognized, although she has passed, you know, and that is, I'm honored to receive it.
Ladies and gentlemen, her daughter, Miss Nicolette Williams, is collecting on her behalf. And our final award for this evening, the Chief Secretary's Award for Outstanding Contribution and Significant Achievement in the Sphere of Sport. Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Kyla Keith Wilson.
My passion for netball started when I started Scarborough Secondary and came into contact with Miss Ruth Antwine, who was our PE teacher back then. And a fire ignited in me where the hunger for winning, the hunger for just achievement took over. And I went on as a player, tried out for National Under-16, wasn't successful, went as a standby. Then National Basketball Under-19 was successful in that. Administration wasn't the fire that I needed, so I went into coaching and I have not looked back since. My qualifications allow me to coach any discipline because I've done international training and certified and so. However, my passion is netball. Although I could play basketball, although I could coach basketball, the love for young women and their development, their growth is what really have me zeroing in on netball. Anybody knows me, I don't do it for recognition. I do it because I just genuinely love. I'm not sure if I love the girls more or netball more, right? But I know there is a love. And it's just to be recognized is mind-blowing. It's humbling. And I really, really, really thank and appreciate the recognition.
Mrs. Wilson coached the Under-18 national team, Commonwealth 2023, and operates the only netball academy on the island, resulting in many Tobagonians being a part of the national team. Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Kyla Keith Wilson. Congratulations to all of our awardees. Ladies and gentlemen, I now invite our final performer for this evening, the incredible Sharon Phillips. Let's welcome her.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And a very special good evening to our awardees. Tobago stands truly proud. Proud of your service. Proud of your time. Proud of your excellence. And people like myself hope to walk in your footsteps. So tomorrow will be a lovely day. Ladies and gentlemen, loosen up a little bit. Just rock with it. Give me some music. When I wake up in the morning, love, and the sunlight hurts my eyes, then something without warning, love, weighs heavy on my mind. Then I look at you, and the world is all right with me. Just one look at you, give me some juice, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day. A lovely day. All right, everybody in the stands, put your hands together. Let's feel it. Come on. When the day that lies ahead of you, yes, seems impossible to face. Tell me, when someone else instead of you seems to always know the way. Color, baby, then I look at you, and the world's all right with me. Oh, just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day. A lovely day. Hey. So I want to say to all the lovely people here this evening, this is what Tobago looks like. Put your hands together, make some serious noise for the awardees tonight. That's right. Doesn't matter how long it takes, we're gonna recognize you. Because just when I look at you, and I know the world is all right with me. Yeah, just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day. A lovely day. A lovely day. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. A lovely day. A lovely day, a lovely day. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sharon Phillips, and thank you for sharing your exceptional talent with us. Let's hear it for her again, ladies and gentlemen. So we've come to the end of this fabulous evening, might I say. Let me take this time to thank the Tobago House of Assembly and the Executive Council, as well as the Chief Administrator, for the hosting of this event. The Protocol Department of the Office of the Chief Secretary, led by Ms. Janelle Akwing, for coordinating the Awards Committee for deliberating over the nominations, Shaw Park Complex, Bishop Holder for inviting God's presence, both the Chief Secretary and the Chief Administrator for their remarks, our talented performers, of course, you, our awardees, and I want you at this time to put your hands together and give a round of applause for all of our awardees. We thank you for accepting the awards and for being here with us. A special thanks as well to all of our invited guests. So ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of the official part of this evening's program. We now have a group photograph coordinated by our official photographer. I just want to say happy Tobago Day to all of you and compliments of the season as well. You're also invited to the cocktail reception, which takes place in the area behind the red curtains. So do enjoy, have a great evening. Thank you. Oh, and we do hope to see all of you on Wednesday right here at Shaw Park Complex for our Thanksgiving service as we continue to celebrate Tobago Day. It begins at 10 a.m. and all of you guys are invited. So see you on Wednesday. Have a good evening.